Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Coffee with Mom again.
Yep.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. And this is our 9th Coffee
Really?
with Mom. We're almost into double digits.
Oh my goodness, that's wonderful.
So, yep. And so we teased this. We have our coffee. We actually went to a local place. I had to get out of the truck to go get the coffee, and so that's why we didn't film in the drive-thru or anything like that. But we teased it in a past one to talk. There's a jet. There's a jet lined up and waiting right there. A little, oh, you can't see his T-tip. But we teased about it in, I don't know, either the previous Coffee with Mom or
At
one time that we would talk about politics.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
oh boy, oh boy.
However,
I want you to know also it was his idea, not mine.
yeah, right. However, we will talk about politics, but like other belief systems like religion, politics is, to me, personal. So what we are going to talk, though, about is when you hear politics or somebody say, it's political, right, or something like that, what does that mean? So what does it mean, politics and political, to us? Because there'll probably be not a disagreement, but we'll have different definitions, I would guess, about what politics or political mean. So, Mom, would you like to start? And when you hear politics or political, what do you think of, or what's your feelings or your actions or whatever?
Well, I agree with you that I think politics is a belief among a group of people who have the same beliefs, just as we were talking about, would be a definition too of religion. I think of politics as a scheme or a method or a way of thinking, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with the government, because politics can be, or a political situation can be almost anywhere. You know, I know when I worked at Aransas County ISD, yeah, there was some politicking going on there.
Sure.
You know, and it's where people get an idea and want to follow through on it, and have people in control that they want in control.
Okay, so yeah, I think, well, my definition of politics or political, and you, at the end there, you kind of came to the similar, I think, conclusion, or at least the words you used, as I associate politics and political with another P word, and no, it doesn't have a double S and end in Y.
Yeah, right.
It's power. When politics, and when somebody says it's political, like in my work, that's basically what it is. It is people jockeying for position and power, as you say, to have control. Mm-hmm. Right? So literally when anybody uses the term politics or political, to me, my brain instantly goes to power, control, and I also agree, it doesn't mean government, right? That's just a form. That's just a form of politics, right, or power or control, right? But yeah, as you say, you can have politics, and in the work environment, in the family environment, right? Yes, in government, in society, which of course clearly we're seeing in the world now,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, because when you have a group, a political group, it's just like a political group is behind all this COVID thing too, using it.
Sure, using it. Yeah,
power.
yeah, right, yeah. This might be a new road for you.
I don't know.
Well, actually, it's not a new road, because you looked at houses right here, Mom. These are the little houses on the old golf course, remember?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
where I found the model.
Yeah.
This is where the model
Yeah.
was for the home that I did build.
Yeah.
But not here. Well, yeah.
Not here, but yeah.
Because there weren't any trees.
Yeah, I'll slow down.
Oh, yeah,
I'll slow down and I'll piss and I'll play politics with people behind me. And so yeah, here's out right there, right to the right. Kind of look back there.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Yeah.
How strange. Yeah, I forgot it. I didn't realize it. Yeah, because we were
reminiscing.
We were somewhere. we were somewhere else when someone told us about this.
Right. Yeah.
Oh no, it was here that they told us about Lancaster. Maybe.
Correct. Yeah, that's the way it was.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Anyway, back to politics.
Well, I mean,
that was good.
But that's a whole nother thing, right? It's like so. This is a shout out to one of our good friends, Ruthie. Is that we're so squirrel, right? I mean, right? We're having a conversation,
yeah.
squirrel, and then all of a sudden go off somewhere else. But yeah, so yeah, but you're right about the COVID-19. I mean, the virus is the virus, but yes, there is now politics around the virus, meaning it's about power, control, positioning, right? Because clearly we have November, whatever 4th, right? Is going to be another presidential election this year. So clearly there's even jockeying now for, so many topics, but COVID is one of them. So.
Yes. Yeah. Well, to me, if you're talking about government politics,
okay,
that there's always something that they seem to have. They can never, my first election was back in Eisenhower.
Okay.
And, back then, you voted for someone to be in power in Washington as president. You sort of based all your opinions on the man.
Right.
Not situations and events like we do now.
Sure. Well, that's the social politics, because I'll add an adjective in front of politics, which we talked about, I think, not on camera, but, we talked about it, that, at least I've talked about it with, adjectives, but I'll add social power. So now that's so much of politics now. It's not a right or wrong, good or bad, the best way, better way, improvement. It's just the way that society, the mob moves, right? They claim this is the best way to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, and if it's according to how you're thinking,
right,
then that's where you're going to go. That's
right,
the direction you're going to go. I think I mentioned to you, not on camera, but that, my mother and dad were very staunch Republicans.
Right.
So they voted Republican. It didn't matter who.
Yeah, they didn't know about any of the actions, the
or
policies,
the guy,
process, the person.
Even the man,
yeah, right.
Yeah,
it was just
that
literally
was running.
Yeah. Right.
But so I very much understand how people get into a groove like that,
right,
because that's the way they've always been taught,
sure,
or that's the way they've always thought. My good friend Johnette, who probably won't see this, but she is very staunch in her thinking. And when I think about it, she's that way in everything. She's that way with her religion.
Right.
It's this way or none.
Right. Sure.
And I never had, I don't know why. I think when I was first at the voting age and that, I was influenced by my parents.
Right.
But then after that,
right, yeah,
my own thinking came into
sure,
being, and so I never was really like a staunch Republican.
Right,
I
sure,
wouldn't vote for just because they're Republican.
Okay, sure. Well, we know you're a flower child and you smoke pot and all that back in the day. That'll get you now a whole bunch of likes if you had your own account.
Yeah, really.
People be like, she's awesome.
Yeah, really. One time I tried it. One time. And I cannot.
And you didn't inhale?
Yeah, and I didn't inhale. And
since we're talking politics.
Yeah, really. Oh boy. I knew this would go off on a tangent.
Yeah, it would go off, yeah. So
it's okay.
It is okay.
But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing, and I guess because you've obviously lived longer than me and through some much bigger world events. But how has government politics affected you personally? So like, with Eisenhower being, president, and then, going up, then through Carter and Reagan and, and the Bushes and the Clinton and Obama and all this, how has that affected you personally? Like, I don't mean like your feelings and your belief systems. I mean like your taxes and how you buy
actually,
things.
That was the one thing I was going to say.
Uh-huh.
I didn't like government interfering with being able to regulate retirement systems. You weren't allowed to have Social Security, even though you were working and paying taxes. You weren't getting the benefits of Social Security if you, like, a school district is a governmental entity.
Right.
So you don't get Social Security for all that work that you put in. I don't think that's fair. I think if you work, you work.
Right.
And whether you work for a school district shouldn't matter.
Yeah, because clearly the U.S. government is a huge business by definition.
Oh, gosh.
Right?
The biggest, probably.
You guys have seen this all the time. Cindy's little charm always is the bane of my existence. Okay.
Okay. I'm glad that makes you feel better now.
Breathe, Mike. So, yeah.
Yeah, but...
Well, in my adult life, it was actually now, and I'll say it was in my adult life the only time that now the president has affected my personal life was the last 4 or 3.5 years here with Trump. And the reason being is because it was the first time that I paid less taxes, and therefore my federal income, I did not get a federal income tax return because I paid less taxes throughout the whole year, which to me that's what I want. I don't want to give the government a 12-month loan and then they give me money back at the end of the year, right?
Yeah,
an interest-free loan, right? I don't want to do that. I would much rather just pay my tax because I like my roads, I like my national parks, I like my, borders, I like my defense system, so I'm okay with paying taxes. I just don't like giving them more money, and then at the end of the year they go, oh, by the way, here's all the money extra that you gave us. It's like, hey man, come on now, give me. So that's the only time. Other than that, all the other presidents during my adult life, they actually have not affected me personally in my taxes, of buying groceries, of buying cars, right, of traveling. It has not affected me personally in terms of action. Right?
Yes.
Clearly in my thoughts and feelings and all that about, events, I can get myself worked up about that. Right? Mm-hmm. Like everything else. But in terms of real action of where I had to, like, again, pay more taxes or, fuel prices, people can say about that, it's like, nah, I've seen fuel prices do this my whole life. Mm-hmm. Not, because of some president, right?
Right.
So, or even political, or the party that's in power. So, but yeah, that's one of the things that when I hear the word politics and, political is power, and then, okay, how does that affect me personally? Because that is what, I would, I guess I say, defend, right? That sphere,
okay, yes.
That personal sphere, that's what I defend, that's what I'm most interested in, right?
Well, yes, and that makes sense, and I think everybody is that way.
Well, I'll ask you about it as I've seen, not just with COVID, and so the state of the world right now, but let's go to like the state of your world, about your health, your age, and everything else. I would assume, because I'm part of it, but that your world has gotten much smaller in terms, right?
Oh yes.
Oh
yes. Yeah,
right.
and that's why you get the feel, or I get the feeling that I get, is that there's not purpose to my life.
Right.
Because yes, it has dwindled down to a very small sphere.
Right.
Where before, I had a lot of interaction with a lot of different people because, you know, I would go off to a lot of educational meetings and meet people there and be part of that group. And, you know, I was in organizations and church.
Yeah.
You know, that's a social thing.
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
And so, yeah, I right now, I have a very small world. You know, and it does get very frustrating, you know, to have to rely, although I feel like I'm entitled, maybe, I don't know, to what you do for me, but when your world narrows down, your, I don't want to say psyche narrows down, but your personal thinking of yourself, you're certainly not egotistic anymore.
Right.
No, but anyway, did that answer that question or not?
Well, it answered it. But it's your answer, so
yeah.
that's.
But yes, my world has dwindled.
Yeah. I mean, we have a fairly small.
Yes, for
world
a younger couple, you do.
Yeah, you know, which is how we do it, because then it's bringing this maybe full circle in the conversation, because then our power and control over that sphere is much easier.
That's true.
Say what I say.
Yes.
Where I see then people where they want to change the world. It's like, yeah, that's not gonna happen unless, of course, you send an undercooked bat into the world.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because now that's one of my new sayings, right? Is, yeah, one person can change the world. Just all they need is an undercooked bat and one person, and spread a virus.
There you go.
So, all right, everybody. Well, I think that's a good place to end, Ma. We'll continue our drive here off camera. But thank you for joining us, everybody, here on this Coffee with Ma.
And we actually got through a political talk without getting all upset.
Yeah.
Especially you. Because sometimes you can just really get in there and do it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. See you later.
Bye.